Design your financial future in every respect, and then make a plan to achieve it. Brian Tracy. Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you about the future of finance. Today we stand at the dawn of a financial transformation. For over a century, banks and payment systems have worked through legacy infrastructure, slow, costly, and fragmented. But now the Bank for International Settlements, the central bank of central banks, is charting a vision for the future of money. This is not just about banking, it's about the very architect of the global economy.
The name and the topic of our fireside side chat today was the future of finance. Okay, I know it's an issue that you have been talking and discussing and thought for a long time, and it has been a key focus area from the BIS throughout you and the tenure of general manager. Why is the topic so important? How should the financial system should change? What's your view on that?
So thank you very much for that question. I mean, certainly the future of finance is something that is constantly in our minds. I think a few years ago we got some surprises because out of, they say in the US, using baseball metaphors, out of right field, we got all this, all this very interesting trend towards cybersecurity, cyber currencies, and so on. It was an important wake-up call. I think in the financial industry, both in the banking system and in the central banking environment, we have been working for many, many years in terms of technology. But I think that we imagined a pace that was not probably adjusted to the speed at which innovation is evolving in the world. I mean, from cyber coins, we had stable coins, then we have open finance, we had some disasters there, and that trend is going on, no? So we have been trying to catch up and have, I would say, a broader view towards innovation. And that's a little bit what we're trying to articulate at the BIS. The BIS, which is the Bank of Central Banks, have put together the BIS Innovation Hub. We have already 8 innovation centers. We collaborate very actively with central banks. And we work in at least 6 fields: subtech, regtech, cybersecurity, payments, currencies, green finance, payments infrastructure. And I think that we're making big progress. Now, I think that we are still quite behind.
Carsten stresses the current financial system is too slow, too expensive, and too exclusive. Cross-border payments can take 3 to 5 business days and cost up to 7% of the amount sent, particularly harming migrants and small businesses. Settlement of trades like government bonds or large-scale FX often involve multiple intermediaries, inducing friction and risk. Also, the financial inclusion gap, where billions of dollars remain outside formal finance or face high barriers to access. The BIS argues that just like roads or power grids, finance needs new digital rails, public infrastructure that enables innovation.
I think, and when you talk about the future of finance, I think that iPhones are really an example to follow, you know. In an iPhone, you have email, you have WhatsApp, you have SMS, you can watch. I watched the World Series yesterday from my cell phone. You can have audio. You can do bank transactions, so you can do basically everything here. Now, what happened with this device in the last 15 years? What has been the magic of this? Is that they have managed to integrate the different systems. In the past, we had a messaging system. We had the phone. If you wanted to watch TV, you had to go to a room and watch TV. If you wanted to do a banking transaction, you had to go to some other place. What is really magic of this is that everything is interconnected. Now, why can't we aspire to have a financial system where financial services are user-centric? Because today they are not user-centric. Today they are purpose-centric, they are institutional-centric. We are here to serve people, the financial industry, and I think we have to have a user-centric approach. Now, how can we have a system where individuals can do transactions with the provider they desire at the moment they desire with the flexibility that it would be appropriate? And I think that's what we have to aspire. And for that, we need to have a vision. And that vision is what we are trying to articulate in at least in the BIS through different exercises.
It's quite interesting. I mean, this is exactly, I mean, you're talking it right. I mean, we that serve 160 million clients. That's a particular thing that we need to be focused on. The instant payments, for example, that's something that we have discussed with you in the past, in the sense, I mean, how do we do it? I mean, why do we have to basically have different systems, different things in order to be able to make people's lives a lot easier? So that's why there is a lot of disruption in the system, and that's why we don't need to work together. Let me delve a little bit more deeply in what we call Finternet. I mean, what does it involve? What do you concretely see?
Yeah, the Finternet is a word that both Nandan Nilekani and myself coined. Nandan, as you know, he's the chairman or was the chairman of Unisys, a brilliant technological mind. So I got together with Nandan and said, Nandan, this is what we should do from a financial point of view. Tell me, how can we do it technologically? He said, well, we can do it in 3 months. Now, that was an exaggeration, but we have gotten the ball rolling. Now, what is precisely the Finternet? What is the Finternet is more than anything a vision for the future of the financial system.
Think of the Finternet as the Internet of Finance, a global system where money and assets move as seamlessly as data on the web. The Finternet is held by 3 pillars: the economic and financial architect. The rules are based on balance sheets and relationships between central banks and commercial banks and markets. The second is the digital technology, where tokenization, APIs, digital identity, and distributed ledgers enable 24/7 programmable finance. The third is legal and regulatory frameworks. Common laws are placed across borders so tokens, smart contracts, and digital assets can talk to each other and are enforceable. Just as the Internet standardized communications, the Finternet will standardize financial interactions across countries.
Legacy systems were created with a very different mentality of how transactions should or could take place. From a technological point of view, something that can make a huge difference is tokenization. So it's not only tokenizing money, but tokenizing commercial bank deposits and tokenizing all types of assets. Tokenization would open up the scope for huge amounts of innovation, because in the tokens you can put how can they be used, how can they be traded. You can build into there the regulation. So a lot of the burdens you have today in handling regulation could be simplified dramatically. You could also build in cybersecurity or even AML CFT considerations, which is another aspect that generates huge costs to you.
Huge problem.
And so you can have a tokenized world where basically through unified ledgers and interconnectedness, you can put this financial system in place. The other advantage of having a tokenized-based world is that you can have atomic settlement, which means that you can do the settlement immediately, And therefore, you could also save huge amounts in the management of collateral.
Tokenization is the process of representing traditional money or assets, like dollars, euros, or bonds, as digital tokens on a secure ledger. Central bank money, or CBDCs, allow for programmable sovereign money. Bank deposits can be tokenized while settling instantly between institutions. Asset tokenization. Government bonds, equities, even real estate could be traded peer-to-peer with instant clearing. Atomic settlement. Payment and asset transfer happen simultaneously, eliminating counterparty risks such as fraud.
We have already started a few projects in this direction. I think what we need to start with is to have a solid platform. What is a solid platform for a financial system? Is to have what we call a two-tier banking system. I mean, in every financial transactions, you always have a payment side. So you have to make sure that that payment side is in place. What are the keys for the payment side in every financial transaction? It's basically commercial bank money and, at the end of the day, central bank money, because any commercial bank money transaction settles in the central bank. So to do this, you need tokenized commercial bank money and tokenized central bank money, not necessarily at the retail level, but at the wholesale level. With that, you can assure that you will have what is called the singleness of money, which means that when you have commercial bank money, a payment originated in Santander will trade exactly one-to-one for a payment originated by BBI. A dollar in BBI or a euro in BBI is exactly the same as a dollar in Santander. That is a singularity of money, and we need to preserve that. So for that, we need to build a very solid pillar, digitalized pillar, focused on tokenized central bank money and tokenized commercial bank money.
At the heart of the Finternet lies tokenization. In today's two-tier banking model, central banks issue reserves and private banks issue deposits. In the Finternet, both would exist in tokenized form, which is programmable, instantly transferable, and recorded on a secure ledger. It also enables programmable finance where compliance, rules, and innovation are embedded directly into the transition itself.
So in that sense, I mean, it sounds very promising in principle, right? But in reality, do you believe it can be delivered? I mean, we need to put a lot of people basically in the same track. How could you basically turn this into a reality?
Well, I think we have to start with, and we already started that with Agora. I mean, I think the public sector has to provide public goods in that respect.
Okay.
I think we have in our, I think we have to think about what are the public goods that are necessary for this type of environment. One is, of course, to have digital central bank money, but we also need to facilitate the creating of digital commercial bank money. And that's why I think Agora is a very important first step.
This vision is already being tested through Project Agora, a BIS initiative involving 6 central banks and more than 40 private institutions, including Santander. The project explores how tokenized deposits and wholesale CBDCs could transform cross-border payments. Today, international transactions pass through a costly web of correspondent banks, each adding time, fees, and risks. With a unified ledger system, payments could settle in real time across borders with compliance built directly into the code. The result, faster, cheaper, and safer global finance.
Okay. For example, I have noted a lot of media speculation recently that one of your projects that called the project Enbridge, I believe you call it, could provide the basis for a BRICS initiative to circumvent sanctions. Okay, so is that plausible? Can you comment a little bit on that, or?
Well, thank you that you asked me that question. In the Innovation Hub, basically what we try to do is to be a catalyst for innovation. So basically the way it works is that we talk with the community of central banks, identify needs, and then develop projects. And we do them in partnership with other central banks.
Carsten stresses that central banks are not trying to replace private innovation. Instead, they are catalysts, providing a backbone infrastructure that ensures money remains stable and trusted. The two-tier model will continue. Central banks will provide settlement, finality, and singleness of money, while commercial banks will innovate on top. In this way, the Finternet enhances rather than disrupt the financial system.
Enbridge has been a project we have been involved with for 4 years. Basically, we have several central bank partners and many observers. I think the project has been a big success. I would say that the project has been so successful that I think that we can declare it that we have graduated out of that project. The BIS is leaving that project, not because it was a failure or not because of political considerations, but mostly because we have been involved for 4 years, and it is at a level where the partners can carry it on by themselves. That has happened already with all other projects. At the same time, I have to say that Enbridge is not mature enough to start operating, so many years need to happen. Now, with respect to the geopolitical aspects, the noise that has come there, Enbridge is not the brick bridge. And I have to say that categorically. Enbridge was not created to cater the needs of BRICS. It was put together to satisfy broad central bank necessities. We at the BIS, at the same time, and just this is, I think this is just to set the record straight. We always try to be a good citizen, global citizen, and the BIS do not operate with any countries, nor their products can be used by any countries that is subject to sanctions.
Some critics argue that projects like Enbridge, a cross-border CBDC experiment, are geopolitical tools, particularly for BRICS countries. Carsten rejects this idea outright. Enbridge, he explains, was designed for broad central bank needs and has successfully graduated into an independent project. While promising it is still years from being fully operational, the key point is that these technologies are about building efficiency and trust, not about dividing the global financial system. The future of finance is not science fiction. It is already unfolding. Tokenization, programmable money, and unified ledgers are reshaping what's possible. The BIS calls it the Finternet, but in truth it's about something even bigger, a financial system that works faster, costs less, and includes more people. Just as the internet transformed communication, the Finternet could transform money itself. The only question now is, how quickly will the world adopt? The next chapter of finance has been written today, and it's one we'll all be a part of. Please comment, share, like, and subscribe. Peace.